Okay, good evening. This is Debbie Davis. It is October 19th. Okay, this is my second video of the day. It's just the harassment is escalated so intensely that it's unbelievable. And so, I mean, you know, if anybody doesn't see that we have like a serious problem in this country, then you are completely out of touch. I mean, we have such a serious problem of infiltration that it couldn't be more obvious. I mean, okay, so I have more evidence to show tonight of treason, crimes against humanity, crimes against veterans. You know, at this point, clearly we have a problem with our government. So, are you going to just sit there and watch other veterans being abused like myself? I mean, this has gone on nonstop for 13 years. So at this point, the American people, the other veterans, the civilians, we have to step up and stick together against our own government. I keep showing evidence. I've been doing these videos for 8 years now, showing this evidence. Jesse Ventura tried warning everybody way back 14 years ago when he wrote his books. Same with that other woman, Debbie Tavares. She's been trying to warn people, showing people documents, and people just, they don't want to do the research or something. So, you're going to get frauded out of the money, like what they're trying to do to me every day. Then the next is going to happen to you, and it seems like until it happens to you, personally, a lot of people just don't do anything. Well, it is going to happen to you next, so it'll start happening to everybody. Okay, so I have more evidence here that these collection companies are frauds, and then more evidence that the courts are frauds, and more evidence that the unemployment people are frauds. Okay. But I think that some of these letters that I'm receiving are actually from these fusion centers pretending to be the government. Okay. And then, you have to be careful with these phone calls. Okay. Like, let's see. Okay. There's this one. Okay. The LA Fitness, and then there was this other one. Yeah, right here. So this was some number. Okay, somebody from 800 number from Conscious Life Expo.
Los Angeles for 2025. Please call me back as soon as possible. I'm actually reaching out because we released the early bird vouchers for the exhibitors and the attendees already. However, it's just not confirmed you have received it. Call me back at 800-878-0113. It's 800-878-0113, extension 101. Once again, this is Jenny calling you regarding Conscious Life Expo. I'll be watching for your call back, and I hope you have a nice day.
Okay, I have no idea who this person is. They're not associated with the Conscious Life Expo in any way. I have a direct telephone number to the Conscious Life Expo people, and a direct website that we make payment to for the booths. I go to this Conscious Life Expo once a year with my company because it's a really good expo, and it's always a lot of fun. And I mean, literally like 15,000, 20,000 people go. I mean, it's just, some of these expos are worth going to, and some of them aren't. It's just like, I go to a few of them that I feel like are worth going to, and sometimes, and so this is one I've been going to for a while now, and, we have a direct person, and so several of us are getting these fraudulent phone calls, and they're trying to collect payment on our booths and illegally steal the money from the Conscious Life Expo. Okay, and then we also have been getting emails, and we would be paying some CIA person instead of the actual Conscious Life Expo people. So several people from the Conscious Life Expo are getting these phone calls, these fake emails, and then they're and then they're trying to sell our a list to people of all the exhibitors in the Conscious Life Expo. They're trying to illegally sell the list. The CIA is illegally sending people out. Send this money to us, and we'll send you the list of all the exhibitors. Why? I mean, they're trying to say, did I give permission to anybody for you to sell my information on some kind of database to everybody of who's attending the booths? I didn't give anybody permission for that. But that's not the Conscious Life Expo that's doing it. It's the CIA. And so, there's no way I'm going to call this woman back. She's a fake fusion center person trying to illegally collect my money. And so if I was to pay her, then I wouldn't really be paying the Conscious Life Expo people, because I have a contact that I send to directly, and it's not her. Okay? So, I mean, these are all Fusion Center. It's these fake collection companies, and the Fusion Center, that St. Paul office, Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, is a fusion center, and they're everywhere in the country, and they work with the fake collection companies to take your money illegally. And the Attorney General is involved. And our Attorney General, our Democrat Attorney General, Keith Ellison, is involved. Okay, so if you remember, I had filed a complaint against this Messler and Kramer in Plymouth that is trying to send me this fake collection for some credit. I don't even know where they're getting. It was Midland Credit and Barclays. Okay, and so I go there, and I said, what is this even from? What is this even from? Do you have evidence that this is a real debt? Okay. Oh boy. Okay, this is right from the Minnesota Attorney General's office. I said I made a formal complaint against them because this isn't a real debt. I was not formally served any debt. Oh, the judgment was signed by a court administrator, not even a judge. That's not a real judgment. The judgment was signed by a court administrator instead of a judge. That's not a real judgment, and I was never served a judgment. There's no judgment here. And there was already a law passed in Minnesota for this type of thing just recently, saying they're illegally trying to do fake judgments on people. They're illegally trying to do fake judgments on people, these collection companies. Okay, so this is Messler and Kramer. Okay, first of all, Messler and Kramer there's already been a federal indictment against them. I did the loss. I played that video a few videos ago about this other company out of Wisconsin exposing this particular company. They're a fake collection company that is illegally trying to steal your money out of Minnesota people and Wisconsin. And this one guy in Wisconsin, he's like somebody that fixes your credit. I played that video. And he exposed them, and they got sued in federal court for a federal indictment already. And Midland Credit, who they say that I owe, that is trying to say that this debt, come up with this fake debt out of nowhere, has already been sued back in 2015 or 14 by the real Attorney General that we had before, Lori Swanson. For $500,000 for these illegal debts, and second of all, they're taking people's money out of their bank accounts, and without them even having a chance to dispute them. Okay, so how are you getting people's bank accounts? I never gave any of these people my bank accounts. How are you finding this information out of people's bank accounts? They're working with the CIA. They are working. These companies are working directly with the CIA. Do not pay any of these collection companies. That's one way you can fight back. Is that do not pay them a dime ever. These are not real collection companies. These are fake collection companies that are working with the fake government, pretending that they're our government. Okay, so I get this letter back from the Attorney General. Enclosed is the copy of the correspondence we received from Messler, Lee, and Kramer. Unfortunately, Messerly and Kramer doesn't appear willing to resolve your concerns. Oh, of course not, because you're a fake collection company to begin with. Um, yeah, so, they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. They're just a complete joke. Our Attorney General, Keith Ellison, is a complete joke. He's not going to do anything to help you in any way. Nobody's gotten any kind of help in any way from our Attorney General here. Yeah, this is Paul Mueller. Okay. Boy, thanks a lot, Paul. Oh, Paul Mueller. Okay. Oh boy, if you did any research at all, Paul, you'd already see that this fake collection company has already illegally been had a federal lawsuit against them and a lawsuit by the Attorney General's office 10 years ago. So clearly this is a fraudulent issue, and if you were any good of an Attorney General that was actually upholding the law, you would see that there was not only a state complaint but a federal complaint against this company. So clearly you are not in the best interest of the American people or the veterans or my interest at all. So, we're just going to regard you as a fake Attorney General along with the fake collection companies like the fake news. Okay. And then this is, the Messler and Kramer. They tried to say, I go in there and I said, and I requested the evidence that they had, that this was even a real debt, and they tried to say, and then they tried to say that they tried to say that I was argumentative. Oh, so asking for evidence that you have that this is actually a valid debt. This is now considered argumentative, uncooperative. And then, they're trying to say that I said I worked for the CIA. No, I didn't say that. I said, I believe that you work for the CIA. I didn't say I worked for the CIA. I would never work for a dumb agency like that, committing fraud and treason against the American people. No, I didn't say anything about that. I said, I believe that you are a fraudulent agency that works with the CIA, illegally trying to fraud me. That's what I said. So get your story right, Messler and Kramer. Okay, we understand that. Oh yes, you're so understanding. Okay, they try to act like they're legitimate. They're not any kind of legitimate agency. And then they this is the only thing I received, like 3 statements from Barclays. Oh, that's supposed to be proof that this is a real collection. I paid on this company. Oh, this is what they sent me. This is real proof. I mean, this isn't anything. This is just like a joke. This is like, some statements. It's not even like, oh, really? I paid this company, Barclays, for. They literally they just sent me one statement. That's it, one statement. And then the rest is their judgment, their fake judgment. Okay, this judgment was not even signed by a court. A real judge. It was signed by Sarah Gonzalez, who is a court administrator. Since when can a court administrator? Oh, so as an admin person, you can now put judgments on people in Hennepin County? Apparently, in Hennepin County, the Attorney General allows people to be frauded with just a court administrator that doesn't have any idea if this is a real collection, a real debt of any kind. Sarah Gonzalez, she's not a judge, she's a court administrator. Okay. And they it was Midland Credit and Barclays. There was 2 different companies involved. There were two different companies involved, and so this isn't even the same one I originally received. So they already like did some kind of funny work in here because the original judgment said Midland Credit and Barclays. Okay, now it just says Midland Credit. Where did that come from out of nowhere? I've never, and that's why I said Midland Credit. What's that? And then the other one, Barclays, I already know. I already filed tons of complaints against Barclays with like the Better Business Bureau and stuff like that. I mean, this is complete. Just if one thing you can do is completely stop paying Messerly and Kramer, stop paying any of these collection companies. We have to expose this attorney general, this fake attorney general who's not doing his job to protect people. I mean, I don't know how much more I can prove that this is a fake debt, and so I paid, showing, this is not evidence that this is a real debt. You showed me one statement from Barclay and you think that's evidence? They're completely 100% out of their mind. Okay, hold on one second. My battery's dying. Okay. Okay, so, so I mean, they're just trying to they're coming after me nonstop. They're just coming after me nonstop. It just is never ending. Okay, and they're trying to take my money, and then they'll take yours. They'll take everything. They'll hack into your bank account. They'll do a fake judgment with not even a real judge, with a court administrator. And the attorney general will completely back him and be like, yeah, that's cool. You think that's a real attorney general? We don't have anybody that's really doing their job. Nobody. In the government, I mean. In the government. Okay. And then, this, when I went to go talk to this, the Minnetonka, the court in Ridgedale, Minnesota, because I had got that printout of all of my issues with the courts and the police and stuff like that, and I was wondering whatever happened with this document that I sent in 2 months ago. It was called a motion for dismissal. Okay, this was complete harassment by the Plymouth police. I get pulled over out of nowhere for a supposed brake light. They made me late for work. They said I was on the phone. Oh, really? At 5:30 in the morning. All I'm thinking about at 5:30 in the morning is going to work. And, certainly not on the phone with anybody. They they never sent me any proof of the body cam or proof of the wireless communication charge where they said I was on the phone. And I had gotten the brake light corrected right away. I proved that in the first hearing. This is, I had like 3 hearing officers, and I requested the footage like all on every single one, and they never sent me the footage. And then they never sent me the third court date, and then they sent me a text on a Saturday, and I was supposed to show up on a Monday, and I was willing to show up on a Monday, and I had gotten off work to do so. But then they tried to say, oh, no, it's not a remote hearing this time. It's in person. Oh, well, you never sent me any notice of that in any way. You never written notice, no email. In fact, when I was at the court, she said that they had tried sending an email, but it was undelivered. So they knew that I had no... when I talked to the first lady, who was a real court administrator, she said, we don't have any evidence that we received your document of this motion for dismissal. And I said, well, I have evidence that I sent it with the tracking number. So how does this happen? And she said, are you talking about the one court date And it was couple months ago now, and she said, well, it says here that we tried sending you an email, but it was undelivered. Because I said, I was never notified, ma'am, of this court date. And you can't send a text on a Saturday and expect somebody to show up on a Monday for court. And then on top of it, don't tell them if it's in person or remote. And then they went ahead and had the court date anyways, and not only convicted me of the first fake charge that they had no evidence of, but also the second charge, which I had already proven twice, not once but twice, that I'd gotten the brake light fixed. Okay, I mean, this is just, I'm being harassed to death. Okay, this, I am requesting help on any level now from other veterans, other civilians. This is going to happen to you next. Just because it's not happening to you now doesn't mean it's not going to. So here is the document that I sent to the Ridgedale court. Okay. And there's a tracking number there. Okay. The Ridgedale court. Okay. And I sent it in plenty of time, and because I didn't want to get pulled over for not paying the tickets. Okay. And I was never sent anything in the mail that they didn't receive it. Or I wasn't ever even sent anything like that brake light charge was actually done against me. I was never sent anything in the mail about that. I didn't even know until I went into the public access that I was charged with this brake light charge. Okay, so then they could have pulled me over at any time, and that's the whole reason why I spent $10 to send this priority with a tracking number, so that I wouldn't get pulled over in the meantime while I was waiting for this motion to be filed. And they never filed this motion. Instead, the motion got delivered to Hopkins instead of the Ridgedale court. The motion got delivered to a CIA agent that's pretending to be a court administrator in Hopkins, Minnesota. I mean, it doesn't make. There's no way that this should have. This is where it ended up. It ended up going to a court, to an agent that picked it up in Hopkins, Minnesota. It didn't end up going to the Ridgedale court. A CIA agent is pretending to be a court supervisor. Her name is Rochelle, and she works at the Ridgedale court, and she's actually a CIA agent that's pretending to be the supervisor there. Picked up by CIA agent out of Hopkins, Minnesota. So Rochelle, who was about as rude gets, is a CIA agent working over there, pretending to be the court administrative supervisor. Okay, she's a CIA agent that lives in Hopkins, Minnesota. She illegally is bypassing the documents that are supposed to go to the courts. They're going to the CIA instead. And so my document that I prepared and spent my time with the citation number, and then I had served the prosecutor office as well. Campbell and Knutson went out of my way going down there. They got served the paperwork. I put it in their post office. I recorded that video. And she didn't even file it. So I go all the way out of my way. Let's see, this whole thing has been 2 hearing officers wasting my time. I had to get off work twice. Then a third one where I didn't even get allowed the court date. So this is at least 15 hours of my time wasted by the police and these courts. Okay, and then I go to try to file this is my right to be able to request to show evidence in a motion for dismissal. And I talked to an attorney about this. They said instead of appealing it, just file a motion for dismissal. Okay, then they didn't even file that correctly. So, I mean, do you think you have any rights in this country right now? You don't. You don't have any rights. They think that the CIA has infiltrated the collection companies, the courts, the attorney general. We don't have anybody really doing their job. And then they're trying to say that give me a hard time and I can't log on to my unemployment right now. Or they're trying to say there's an issue there now. There hasn't been any issues. Hold on a second. So there's here's what I have from the unemployment office. I'm due all this money. There was no issues of misconduct in any way. I'm eligible for employment through 5/17/2025. This is right off the website. I had taken pictures of this. I've documented everything. They're trying to say that here's the document from unemployment. They're trying to say I was discharged for some kind of work performance or something, but they're trying to say there was misconduct involved. There was never any misconduct, and I had gotten a letter directly from the human resources, and saying that we never denied your unemployment. So I've been getting paid for 6 months. There was never an issue. There was never an issue with misconduct. They tried playing this game. The second time they're trying to play this game, out of nowhere, they're trying to say, we've decided to cut you off because of misconduct. Just out of nowhere, I'll get these random letters. Oh, we decided to cut you off now. I mean, is that legal? Of course not. They can't do that. There's never any misconduct. And then I wasn't even hired for being warehouse. I was hired in an assembly 1 position there, and I was working. I worked on 5 different areas, building 4 different motors for Wagner Corporation. It's that paint, professional paint sprayer company. I worked in 4 different areas there, building 4 different motors. I was a professional assembly manufacturer. Okay, I just got sent over to warehouse for the last 5-6 months I was working there because they needed help over there. They said they were always short in the warehouse, and my MOS in the military was 92 Alpha, which is supply, and I have warehouse and supply and forklift training. So I got sent over there just to help. I wasn't even hired for that position. So, and then out of nowhere, what happened is they tried to say there was performance issues. I never had any kind of marks on my file for performance issues, and I wasn't hired for warehouse. I was hired for assembly there. Okay, so how can you even, I'm just helping you out, and then you start giving me a hard time saying there's performance issues without any evidence at all. So there's definitely was no misconduct on my end or neglect on my end. They just fired me for no reason. Okay, so you definitely can't say anything about denying me my unemployment. There's definitely no misconduct or anything that I did in any way. You just fired me for no reason, which is apparently in Minnesota, apparently that's legal now because there's an at-will employment, which unless it's discrimination, which it was. It was discrimination. I just got fired out of nowhere. But there definitely was not any misconduct or anything involved, so you can't deny somebody their unemployment rights when you don't have any evidence that you fired them to begin with of any reason why. So there's no misconduct. And they just won't let me log into my unemployment now. Now I can't log into unemployment because they're upset that I've been exposing the state, I guess, so, there was never, I'm trying to find this letter. It's a letter. Okay, I have a letter directly from the Human Resources, which I will find here. Hold on one second, because I just need to finish this video with this, and this was directly. Because when they first tried to give me, I keep getting these nasty letters, and I don't even think they're coming from the unemployment office, because the one guy, Jeff, when I got the first nasty letter saying, we believe there's misconduct here, so we're cutting you off from your unemployment. And they didn't have, and then I called this Jeff guy, and he said, there's no misconduct. Your employer never said there was any misconduct, and so we don't even know where this letter is coming from. I already had this conversation with Jeff. I called this Jeff. There was 2 representatives that were assigned to my account, Jeff and Yusuf, and so I called him, and he said, no, everything's fine, and you're eligible for unemployment, and you can start requesting unemployment again this weekend. And so there was no reason that I had to do anything from that, prior to that. There was nothing that I had to do at that point. And then so that happened about 4 months ago, and then I've been getting unemployment ever since. And okay, so here's the letter. When I first had this issue, I had requested a letter from Kurt Stockinger, who was the HR person. Okay, HR person from, so this was June 17th, 2024, and I sent this to Jeff, and Jeff said, yeah, we never had any issue with we don't have any issues in here. You are eligible. There is no misconduct. And so Kurt said, I'm sorry that you're having issues. I'm not sure what they are, okay. There is no misconduct issues. She is eligible for unemployment. It's underlined. Like he said, that's what we sent into unemployment, so we don't know why you're having issues. Okay, this was Kurt Stockinger, who's the HR manager over there. Okay, at Wagner. So I don't think it's Wagner that's giving me a hard time. I think it's the state governments here. I really enjoyed working at Wagner, to tell you the truth, and they were always really nice to me. I think they're just getting pressure from the state. I think they got pressure from the state to fire me, because they were a nice company to work for prior to that, and stuff like that. And the stuff is just crazy. It says, Debbie, I am not sure what you are referring to by deny. They said your employment is denied. There was no misconduct, and you are eligible. Okay, so I'm going to read this whole thing. Okay, hi Debbie. Okay, I'm not sure what you are referring to by denying unemployment. There was no misconduct. There's no misconduct. I tried printing this out. I'm having problems printing, so I just have to show it. You are eligible. See the letter below. Okay, this is from Kurt Stockinger, the manager, of Wagner. He's a manager of the HR office over there. Okay, so there's no misconduct. I mean, so they're just playing all kinds of games with me. I can't log in right now. So they're trying to take my unemployment money, the state, and they're trying to, for no reason, even though I'm eligible, and they're trying to illegally take money for this fake collection. So, there's just, there's clear evidence of crimes against me. There's this called crimes against humanity, crimes against their treason. It's financial fraud. I guess the one way you can fight back is, definitely, I think all these collection companies are fraudulent. I think most of these collection companies, they have real nasty, and they're real nasty. Like like they've been trained to be nasty on purpose. I think they all are working with the CIA. I think these collection companies, because somehow they get a hold of your bank account information without you ever giving that information, and that is not normal at all. How does a collection company somehow access somebody's bank account without that person ever providing any bank? This is not normal. This is not normal business. This is some kind of high tech operation pretending to be a collection company when really they work for the CIA. So just don't pay these. I would recommend just completely don't pay these collection companies, and we have to get rid of this attorney general who's not standing up for Minnesota people's rights. He is not doing his job. Anybody with any kind of a attorney background, really, or a real attorney general, could clearly see that there's been issues with this company before. They've been federally indicted in Wisconsin for fraud and financial issues, and then over 10 years ago by this state, this Messerly and Kramer. So clearly there's issues with this Midland Credit and this Messerly and Kramer. They are committing fraud against the American people, the Minnesota people. And so anybody that gets any kind of letter from this Messerly and Kramer, this is a fake company working illegally with CIA, I believe, and whatever government agency. And they're along with the fusion centers. I don't care how crazy this sounds. Jesse Ventura, the governor, over 10 years ago tried to warn everybody of our government working with the CIA, and so same with Deborah Tavares. How else do you think they're getting people's bank accounts and also, and these fusion centers, these phone calls that I'm getting, these are, I know this, like that one from LA, the Conscious Life Expo. That's not the real Conscious Life Expo. That's not a real Conscious Life Expo contact. That's some kind of person pretending to be fraud, and they're going around calling people who own, who are the attendees of the Conscious Life Expo, and trying to get money from them illegally. And then instead of paying the Conscious Life Expo people directly, they'll try to take the money. You'll think your booth is paid for, and this company is going to try to take your money. It's the Fusion Center people that have been frauding Americans for years. They're in every state. So if I were you, I would go and take pictures of license plates and the people working at these fusion centers. This is I believe this is a call center that's involved in these illegal phone numbers trying to fraud people out of money, and they're not. The money's not actually going to that company. It's going to some kind of third-party CIA operation. That's not a real phone number to the Conscious Life Expo. I have a phone number I can call. Thank you very much. Then I can pay the booth directly. I'm certainly not going to pay you, and even though you say you work with them, this is ridiculous. So we all, I think, it's clear that we all just need to step up and come together. This has gone on for me over 12 years as a veteran, and it's been nonstop. So if you think it's okay for this to happen to other veterans, then you're not a patriot. And if you can't stand up and help other veterans and do anything and just sit there, then you're a coward. And this country doesn't deserve to be saved then if you can't do your part. I'm sick of taking all the heat. I'm sick of taking all the heat when not enough people are standing up and fighting. Everybody needs to stand up and fight. It's the home of the free because of the brave, not the cowards. Okay? So everybody needs to step up and be brave right now. And I know the people of Minnesota are good people. I think it's just they didn't know. They don't know how corrupt this really is here. It's just gotten so corrupt, but it was not like this before. I mean, have been some very good people here in Minnesota. Jesse Ventura was a good governor. My friend John's brother, who was a state representative, Chris Turnholm, he was a good representative for 8 years here. I think it was Norm Coleman was a congressman years ago. I think he was a good guy. I mean, like we've had good representation in the past. We just started getting infiltrated, over the years. So please, everybody do their part and stand up and help fight this, because I can't be the only target here for all these years trying to expose this stuff. Everybody needs to do their part. It's a country of 350 million people, but yet I feel like there's only like a handful of people actually standing up. And we're supposed to be carrying like the rest of the 350 million people. I mean, that's just not possible. It's just not possible. Everybody needs to do their part. Okay, so, all right.